Hi, welcome to my channel Rohit Speaks, and in today's video I'm going to talk about the phenomena of our sight, or how do we see things through our eye. So the visual system in our eye is made up of your eyeball or your eye, followed by your optic nerve, which connects to your brain, to your visual part of your brain, which is right behind your head. So right above your neck is your balance area, above that is your visual area, and that's where you basically brain processes your images. Now how the images are done. So when the light enters through your eye, so the first area is called as sclera. It's like a transparent covering. Behind that is your cornea, the whole circle thingy. You see the first circle thingy or black or whoever it is. In the center of that is there is another circle which is called as your pupil, and behind that is your lens. Okay, so that when the light enters through your lens, it creates a focal point behind the area which is called as retina. Back of your eye is called as retina, where it forms a focal point, a pinpoint precision of your image that is transmitted through your optic nerve to your brain, to your visual cortex, and hence you see an image. Okay, so the important point to notice is the light has to enter through your lens and form a focal point behind inside your retina, and that image is processed by your visual cortex and hence you see an image or anything you see in front of you. Now, also images, as you can see, it's colorful, right? So what processes that? So it's in the back of your eyeball or in your retina are these cells called as photoreceptors, rods and cones. Rods are responsible for the black and white and the grays of your image, and the cones are responsible for your colors. So people are there who have mutations in these cones and they cannot perceive certain colors, and they're hence called as color blindness. They cannot perceive either red, green, and then there's some other phenomena which happens. So that's how you see with your eye is when your light enters through your cornea, lens, and then forms an image back of your retina, transmits a signal through optic nerve to your visual cortex, and that forms an image. And that's how you see. And rods and cones are responsible for the color perception and the grays and whites of the image. Now, if I talk about disorders, there are common disorders where you cannot see something which is up close or something which is far, or called as nearsightedness, farsightedness, and then there is astigmatism. So in normal vision, what happens is it's assume it's like a proper circle. But when you cannot see something which is nearsighted or which is near to you, what happens is instead of being a circle, it becomes a little bit oblong. So now what happens is your image is not falling onto your retina. You see right here. So when you don't see anything up close, your image is going through, but it's not falling behind your in your retina. It's actually falling ahead, and hence you cannot. It's blurry when you see up front. So when you put a concave lens or your specs, that will adjust your focal point and bring it back to your retina, and that's how you correct nearsightedness. Now, farsightedness, when you cannot see something which is further away, what happens is basically instead of being a circle, it becomes more like a squished or more like an oval or egg shape. And now what happens is your image is not falling into your retina, it's actually falling behind your retina, or it's just it cannot form a sharp point at your retina, which is like in normal vision, it falls behind. Now, if you put a convex lens behind it, that will adjust your focal point and bring it back to your retina, and that's how you correct farsightedness. Also, if you remember, those who cannot see far when they squint their eyes. So when they squint their eyes, what happens is basically that egg shape kind of becomes a little bit more circle, and hence your focal point kind of goes back to your retina, and you're able to see when you squint. And that's another symptom or another way you can say that person has farsightedness when they squint their eyes to visualize something, because instead of being a circle, it has become an egg shape. So when you squint, it becomes back again to a circle and brings back that focal point back to your retina and you see something. Now, for astigmatism, the problem is the corneas and your sclera. So this is your normal. It has to be almost like a spherical shape. But what happens in astigmatism, either the lens is crooked or your corneas are a little bit differently shaped. Instead of being a normal, nice spherical shape, it might have some bumps. And now what happens is basically when the light enters, there are too many focal points. It's going this way, that way, and what happens is you have very blurry vision, and you cannot visualize the things. Either you have to adjust your eye, or it takes a lot to make an image for you. And the people who are suffering for astigmatism, they either get their cornea is reshaped, or they use special glasses to make sure that the focal point forms in your retina. So these are the normal disorders of your eye. The other disorders being, which is actually disease of the eye. So if I look at it, these are the four common disease of the eye. One is cataract. Basically, what happens is if I look at the normal person's eye, you will see this milky white around their pupil and cornea. And if I look at the back of their eye, this is what your normally back of your eye should look like a single focal point, but it's not properly there, it's not clear, and it's very blurry vision. And this happens due to aging and due to buildup of keratin in their eye. And it's an easy fix where they cut the sclera and clear out this white stuff and then bring it back in, and you are able to see it again. This is very commonly occurring in aging, usually, or if you have some trauma that might cause cataract or keratin, this white buildup, it's easy to remove and fix. Now, glaucoma is another where your images, you see very pinpointed images, and this is what the back of the eye look like. And it it you have to look at the doctor, and glaucoma is again also where your optic nerve. So remember I talked about the optic nerve, it's a little bit like a narrow canal, and that gets damaged and it becomes very squinty in glaucoma. And that's where your eye doctor has to see what's being the problem. In macular degeneration, basically the macula or the back of the eye starts getting bad over the age. Again, these are all age related. And what images look like is something like you will see a black patches for everything. And this is what the back of the eye looks like. Not as same as the normal eye. Other one is retinal detachment. Basically, you will see spots when you see an image. This is very rare, but it would basically your back of the eye is getting a little bit corroded due to age, and you will see floaters, and you might need some surgery to fix that as soon as possible. So these are the common diseases of the eye. The other thing which is concerned with your visual system is the dilation of your pupil. So when you look at your pupil, the tiny black center in your eye, so when this is basically to regulate the amount of light entering to your brain. So when there is too much light, it will be narrow because it does not allow so much light going in, and it will start burning your retina. You just need a little bit, and that it goes in, and your pupil will be constricted or contracted. But when it is nighttime, and in the beginning, when you go from a bright room to a dark room, you're not able to see things clearly because your pupils were thin. Now your pupils dilate, they open up, and they take as much light in. And after a few minutes, you can see everything in the dark. And that's what happens with the dilation of the pupil. So this test doctor does when people have some kind of injury in their brain or anything. What they do is so when the person is sitting, they just put some torchlight onto their eyes and see if this contracts and relaxes. If you put a torch, it technically should contract. But when it doesn't happen, basically some kind of injuries happen. It's not allowing your eyes to, or your pupils to contract back. And that's when can you tell that the person is injured. So this is one of the tests which people do either if they're on drugs to test, even the cops do it. When you're on drugs, they will just flash some light in your eyes. And if your pupils don't contract, that means either you're on drugs or you're injured. So that's one thing I needed for you to learn what meant by pupil dilation and what does it mean in terms of tests when doctors or cops does do it for you. So with that, hopefully you got to learn a little bit about your visual system and how you perceive an image. And any other curiosity or questions you have, I can answer that in the next one. For now, I'll sign off and I'll see you for the other one. In that, I'll cover how we taste things. Till that, goodbye.